Hello, everybody, and thank you for watching my channel. Just pondering a couple things over the past few days and thinking about what's going on as I watch social media over the past few days. And it's interesting because it stands true that everything that I've ever believed in and what I've learned over the past many years, and now my 20 years of studying metaphysics and spirituality, I found it comes back to one thing. It's an inside job, and meaning that we have to go inward in order to find that peace in ourselves. When the war inside ends, then the war outside will end. And so when you say that to people, they get really upset because they think, well, if I'm always inside, then what's going on out here? We have to spend time out here, and we have to fix this world. And I never said when I say it's an inside job and that when the war in here ends, then the war outside will end. What it means is that once you have this war, this dragon inside of you, once you face that beast within yourself, once you face that inner demon or that part of yourself that wants to lash out, once you face that and once you become friends with it, then you'll understand it. It doesn't mean it's not going to jump up and flare its head on occasion. I'm going through some things right now where I've been fairly peaceful for a very long time, and then because I've stepped out on a limb with a couple things in my life, it's now making that inner self come up again. What happens is that as we become peaceful in our lives, we can get to a plateau, and then we can become complacent, and then we see that as a long-term peace. And yes, that could be true, a long-term peace, and you can choose to stay there at that plateau. But if you want to continue to grow, which the soul's goal in this human existence is to grow, if you choose to do that, then you're going to have to step up and reach to another plateau, and you're going to have to keep on climbing and climbing. And when you start to stretch yourself, when you start to get outside of that comfort zone, then there's going to be some anxiety coming up. So there's going to be some things, those fears that you didn't even think were there, things that maybe that happened 20, 30 years ago that you weren't expecting to surface, and they do. And then you're like, wow, I thought I was over this. And what's going to be very much a blessing for you is that you face them, you look at them, and you overcome those fears. And so what happens is that most people think that we're going to reach this point where we're not going to have to expand or grow or have new challenges, and I don't really think that's ever going to happen. Here's the reason why I think that, because I always said that when we're in this flesh body that we're still growing and we still have things to work on, and anybody that's in this flesh body still has some growth opportunities, and I still believe that to be true. However, what I do know to be true and what I've seen in meditation, and I don't even have to see it in meditation, to be honest with you, it just makes sense. Okay, let's say that we transcend this body. Let's say we hit this place of nirvana, or this place of final bliss or enlightenment. Let's say you hit that. Then that's kind of that plateau in a sense. And let's say that you shed this physical shell, and then you go into this existence of consciousness, and you're at this new level. Let's say that some people think we're going to turn into a planet or a star or whatever. Well, let's say you transcend and you go into that belief system. It doesn't really matter what the belief system is. Let's say you just hit this new heights of consciousness and you've grown into that. Let's say you hit that. And then you're there. So does growth stop there? I mean, when we really think about the infinite possibility of the universe and consciousness, does it in the infinite means we're continually moving, meaning the universe and the soul is dynamic, and then it continues. There's no ending because the possibilities are endless. So if what we've been spouting off in the New Age, our New Thought, or truth community, or some people poo-poo the words of New Thought. I say that those people are full of shit. Because they're just words, and it's time for us just to really start thinking about that these are just words. But anyways, the point is that if we really want to say, there's words that go out there that say that we're infinite beings. So if we're infinite beings, then it's constant growth. It's constantly out pushing towards something. And it's not even necessarily pushing. You're in flow with this, this constant state of growth. So let's say that you hit this plateau, and you stay there. Let's say you say, I want to stay in this existence. Then you become stagnant. You become you'll probably start becoming depressed. Your energy will start getting low. That kind of stuff. And so, you know, I had been there. You know, and I'd been there for a couple of years since I wrote my book. I've been like, I don't know where I did that. You know, where am I going to go from there? And these are all just physical manifestation, three-dimensional things that I've done. So, but what is interesting is that, you know, I stepped out into having something, you know, with heart, you know, more of a romantic relationship. And so I had convinced myself that I wasn't going to go there anymore. Well, not even that I didn't need it, that I had friends, I had awesome friends, and I had such a great life, and all that kind of stuff. Well, what I found is that all my friends had relationships. And not to say that I had to have exactly what they had, except that, you know, a friend of mine said that, you know, you are a human being, Jerry. You're also a soul. You're a soul having a human experience, whatever damn language you want to put to it. And you know, while you're here, you might as well enjoy it. And it's funny because those are the words I use with other people, and I thought, well, using my own words on me, and that was, of course, the ego coming out. And so, what happened is, as I'm stepped out, there's all these emotional things coming out within myself, and of course, I'm having to face those. And these are old self-esteem issues that I'd forgotten were there, and all this other stuff. And I think that that's a blessing. I think that that's a blessing that they come up, they surface, and you're able to work through them. And the reason why I'm sharing this with you is because I know all of you out there, some of you are at that plateau right now, and some of you are going to step off the plateau, and some of you are trying to make the decision whether you're going to do it. And the thing is that some of you will go into this mind, because I did it, this mindset of, oh no, I can't have any fear, and you know, I've thought I've reached this place where I'm in peace with myself. I even wrote a book called Peace Be Still and all that kind of stuff. And the truth is that is just a level, and what this is the self-awareness game. Is you constantly push yourself to a place of going beyond. You have to stretch yourself a little bit. In other words, if you stay in one place, you're never going to get that excitement of that satisfaction of passion. You're never going to get that satisfaction of completion, or that you did something. And it's time for all of us to just go out there and start to give ourselves the opportunity to really step out on a limb and take that risk. And you know, I had a friend of mine have this conversation with me about 2.5, 3 months ago, and because I was stepping out and excited all at the same time. Excited, nervous, scared, happy, passionate, all that kind of stuff. These are emotions. You have these emotions, and we have to use them, and we have to experience them. And what happens is that we try to push the ones that make us feel uncomfortable away. And that's not what we want to do either, because if we were here down here, if we're souls having a human experience, then why wouldn't you want to experience everything that comes with it? That includes sadness, sorrow, heartbreak, falling in love, you know, the bliss of standing in front of people and being successful and having people say, oh my God, that's so amazing, congratulations, and even people's disappointment in you. All those things are a part of life. So you have to step out and actually experience those in order to have those emotions. And so true success is one that's actually gone out and experienced life. You know, for a long time I did psychic readings for people, and they would come and they would sit down with me and they would say, well, am I going to find love? And or am I going to get the job that I want? The biggest one is that I'm just in a relationship and I want to find love. And I would say to them, well, I'm like, well, yeah, everybody's going to find love eventually one day. And you know, but you have to get up off the couch. And you have to move, and the people would laugh, and I didn't even have to be a psychic to get this. They would say to me, "Well, you're right. I mean, I've been not going into places. I've just been getting out there, staying with my friends, and all that other kind of stuff, staying in a safe place." And so the get off the couch is just a metaphor of you have to put yourself out there. In other words, you have to go out and try things and see what works for you. It could be going to church. It could be going to do an online dating service. It could be just with friends. It could be out going to do, you know, to the movies, go to the produce store. It doesn't matter. what's going to happen is that when you're supposed to find somebody, it'll happen. And also your heart has to be in alignment with that. So you have to sit and work through those thoughts of, I'm never going to find anybody. Oh, I've looked and I've never found anybody, and everybody disappoints me. All those thoughts are a vibration of push away. But if you start to say, I'm going to find somebody in the right and perfect time, and then you maybe write out what you want and that kind of stuff, then you're going to start attracting, because the heart will start going into this bliss state, and it'll start bringing in somebody that you're looking for. And it might not be the person that you're going to spend the rest of your life with. It might be someone that comes you're going to have fun with. And then that person will lead you into the next person and that kind of stuff. And so, you learn lessons from this one, and you grow from that one, and then it just continues to be this process. So everything is a stepping stone. So I kind of got off on a tangent there, but what I wanted to talk about is that yes, we're going to say that you're an infinite empowered being. So let's just throw that out there. How are you going to change things in this world is by going out there and being that infinite and infinite light being, or infinite powerful being that I just said. So what the darkness or evil or cabal or the global elite or whatever it is you want to refer to it as, what they want from you is they want you to be afraid. They want you to not go out there and experience life. They want you to be enslaved. They want you to believe in what they think you should have. In other words, they want you to be tied around to them in debt. They want you to not feel free inside. They want you to feel trapped. They want you to feel that you have to do something. And so those feelings are preventing you from living passion. Those are the thoughts that are keeping you from being out there and your light shining. And so in order for your light to shine brightly, you have to basically work through your darkness. So that's the basics of what I've learned from my friends that are shamans. You have to go down into the underworld, and you have to experience walking through your own underworld and experiencing all your fears and facing your dragon. That's the story of Inanna. She had to go through the 7 gates and walk through the underworld and die, so to speak. And then she had to be rescued. And what it did for her is she learned compassion, she learned love, and so when you walk through your darkness, when you walk through all your fears, you learn compassion for others, because you'll remember that time when you were in fear of something similar, or that you were there before. And so if you can look and say, oh wait, I see where this person's coming from, and because I can see where they're coming from, I have compassion for them, love for them. I may still speak the truth to them. I may say, that's not right what you're doing, and you're going to hurt yourself and others. You can say that to them. It's like that once you walk through that darkness and you've seen all those things, all those potentials that you could have been. And when I've done this and walked through my darkness, I found this person that could have been a real asshole in life, who could have been really bad and done really bad things. And so when I saw those potentials, I started to realize, wow, so I can be all those things that I get mad at other people about, that I judge people about, that I want to shun people about, that I want to look at them and say, what were they thinking? That's disgusting, and all those things, and make judgments about. And so when I go through that, when I realize that I could potentially become that, and some of you all out there say, well, I could never do certain things. There's just no way. And I challenge you to say that all of us, all those dark things that we see out there, we could potentially become, including a murderer, a rapist, and a drug dealer, a thief, all those kind of stuff. And so people will say, well, I could never be a thief. I could just never happen. And when I ask them a question, have you ever stolen time from yourself when you needed to have time? And so you need to have alone time for yourself. But people that you loved and cared about pulled you in codependently so that you didn't get that time for yourself. And they'll say, well, yeah, that happens to me all the time. Well, then you're a thief. You stole from yourself. You stole from yourself something that you really needed, and you knew it. And you knew you needed time for yourself, and you walked away from that because people either guilted you, or that you had felt obligated to be there, and all that kind of stuff. That's called codependency. And codependency is an inner demon that we all have to face. I happen to be a codependent myself. I've had to recover from a lot of that, and let me tell you, the more and more you recover from a lot of it, the more and more peace you find in yourself. And it's called self-awareness. So when you look at those potentials, when you start to get pulled in codependently, you can say, whoa, wait a second. And you have to say to yourself, no, not going there. Not going to be that. Not going to fall into that trap. So why I talk about the cabal and all the global elite or this darkness that's overhanging over this world is they want to divide and conquer. And so when your energy is all over the place, when it's not centered, it's not empowered. And so when it's not empowered, it can't think clearly. You can't have your connection to source. You can't be centered in your heart, and you can't be grounded to the earth. Because if you get too frightened, you're going to be flying up here, and then you're not going to be down here paying attention. And then when you are too heavily grounded, you don't have that connection to that infinite divine wisdom and or the healing power or the energy to restore yourself, to keep your energy body in balance. You need to have both energies balanced within your center. You need to be in your center still, and sometimes you're going to be pulled out of your center and you're not going to be still. And those are the opportunities, those are the lessons. And so that's why I like my friend Justin's blog so much, is because him and Julian named it Stillness in the Storm. And the reason why they named it Stillness in the Storm is because it's obvious that there's all this stuff, all this corruption, all this bad stuff going on out in the world. That's obvious. You don't even have to believe in half of the stuff that's out there to know that there's bad things going on in the world. So with that being said, if you can be that eye of the storm, because in the eye of the storm, it's the calmest, it's the most peaceful. If you can be that eye of the storm with all that chaos, all that stuff going on, things being ripped apart right in front of you, but you can be that constant, you can be that strength, you can be that core. And then you can speak the truth with peace and love and compassion. Then you'll start to notice that love and compassion and peace aren't weakness, they are actually very much strengths. When you can show that you realize that those are strengths, that those are what make you powerful, that love is the creation that created everything. It's the power, the force between everything that created all of this, the trees, the water, everything. And then when you can see that, when you can get that within your heart, when you're at center, when you are empowered, so to speak, when you've done that inside work, when you've done that inside job, when you've calmed that storm within inside of yourself, then you can stand up. Then you can stand up and you can be that truth. You can do what you know is right, to speak out and do something about what's going on outside of here, because the storm, the war inside of you will be done. And when it starts to flare up again, you'll look at it and it'll know that you're coming in with love, and it will peacefully back down, because it'll know that you're not doing anything to hurt it anymore. And then when that peace is there, you'll be like the stories of Jesus, or when people walked up and touched his robe and they were healed. Why? Because the peace you have will literally bring peace to the room. It'll bring healing to the room without you doing anything other than doing your inner work. And that's powerful. That's empowered. And that's all I have to say today. But I want you to really think about that. Take time every day to process through your day. Look at opportunities you had to be more peaceful, and change that within yourself, and send love to yourself instead of, oh man, I really screwed that up. Just say, I did, that was an opportunity for me, and say, I love you, and now I know, and going forward I'll change that. And so each time you do that, you'll find more peace inside yourself. You'll find more love. And as you give that love to yourself, you'll become that radiant example for the world. And then you'll actually be changing the world. You'll be the change you want to see in the world. And that's all I have to say. Peace and love, everybody. Have a great day.